What if the only person in the world you truly understand is your greatest enemy? What happens when the person you are paid to hunt is the only one who makes you feel alive? Do you follow the law or do you follow your heart? My name is Jack. I am a police detective. For me, the law was everything. It was my job and my life. I was a good detective. I always followed the rules. I always caught the bad guys. My world was simple. It was black and white. But then she came into my life. Her name was Rosita. She was a thief, but she was not a normal thief. She stole only gold, and she was brilliant. For 6 months, she was a ghost. She moved through the city like a phantom. No one saw her. No one heard her. She never used violence. She never hurt anyone. Her thefts were like works of art. They were clever and beautiful. She left no clues, just an empty vault and a mystery. The other detectives were angry, but I was different. I was fascinated. My office was my home. I did not have a family. I did not have many friends. My life was empty. My only company was the case file for Rosita. The file was very thick. It was full of maps, photos, and reports. It was the story of a ghost. Every night, I sat alone in my dark office. I looked at the maps of her crimes. I tried to think like her. She was smart. She was careful. She was a perfectionist. In a strange way, I started to admire her. I felt like I knew her. I was a hunter, but I was falling in love with the mind of my prey. She was a criminal. But she was the only person who understood my lonely world. We were both alone. We were both dedicated to our work. Her work was stealing gold. My work was catching her. My boss, Captain Miller, saw my obsession. He said, "Jack, be careful. This is just a case. Don't let it become your life." But it was too late. It was already my life. This case made me feel something. For the first time in years, I felt alive. For months, Rosita made no mistakes. She was perfect. I thought maybe she would be a ghost forever. I had a secret thought. A part of me did not want to catch her. A part of me wanted her to stay free. It was a terrible thought for a police officer. Then she made one small mistake. It was a very small clue. At the scene of her last theft, inside the clean, empty vault, we found something. It was a single, tiny rose petal. It was not a real petal. It was made of red silk. It was beautiful and perfect. The other detectives thought it was nothing, just a piece of trash. But I knew it was a message. It was a signature. It was personal. I took the silk petal back to my office. I looked at it for hours. Who would make something so beautiful? I started to look in a new way. I did not look for a thief. I looked for an artist. I checked small independent shops, shops that sold handmade things. For weeks I found nothing, but I did not give up. I felt I was getting closer to her. Finally, I found it, a small art shop in an old part of the city. The owner told me about a woman, a very private artist. She made beautiful things with silk. He gave me her address. It was a small workshop near the river. My heart was beating very fast. This was it. After all these months, I called for backup, but I did not wait for them. I had to see her alone first. I do not know why. I just felt it had to be this way. I went to the workshop. The door was unlocked. I opened it slowly. My hand was on my gun. The room was full of light. It was not a criminal's hideout. It was an artist's studio. There were beautiful silk flowers everywhere. And then I saw her. She was standing by a window. She was not a hard criminal. She was a woman. She was looking at the river. She was not afraid. She turned and looked at me. She had a small, sad smile on her face. She said, "Hello, Jack. I was wondering when you would find me." I was shocked. She knew my name. I said, "How do you know my name?" She smiled again. She said, "I know everything about you. I have been following you too." I did not know what to say. My job was to arrest her, to put her in handcuffs, but I just stood there. She was the enemy I was sworn to destroy. But when I looked into her eyes, I saw myself. I saw her loneliness. I asked her, "Why? Why do you do it?" She walked around the room. She touched her silk flowers. She said, "It is not for the money, it is for the art of it. The challenge. The banks I rob, they belong to very bad men. Men who steal from the poor. I take back what they stole." We talked for a long time. She told me about her life. I told her about mine. In that small room, we were not a cop and a thief. We were just two lonely people. Two people who finally found someone who understood them. Then we heard it. The sound of police sirens in the distance. They were getting closer. My backup was here. Our time was over. I looked at her. Her face was calm. She was ready. I had to make a choice. My badge or my heart. My whole life was about the law, about right and wrong. But what felt right in that moment was her. She was not evil. She was just different. The sirens were very loud now. The police were just a minute away. I looked at Rosita. I said, "I have to arrest you." She nodded. She understood. She put her hands out for the handcuffs. I took out my handcuffs. I walked towards her. My mind was screaming. "This is your job! Do your job!" But my heart was screaming something else. She is the only person you have ever understood. Do not put her in a cage. I stood in front of her. I looked at her hands. I looked at her face. I made my decision. I put the handcuffs back in my pocket. I took her hand. I said, "There is a fire escape outside the back window. I saw it when I came in." She looked at me with surprise. Her eyes were wide. She said, "What about you, Jack? They will know you helped me." I looked at the door. I could see the flashing blue and red lights now. I said, "My old life is over. I was just a ghost, like you. Go, live your life, a real life." She asked, "Will I see you again?" I smiled for the first time in a long time. I said, "The world is a big place. I will find you." She squeezed my hand. Then she was gone. Out the back window. A moment later, the police crashed through the door. I told them she was too fast for me. I told them she got away. They did not believe me, of course. I lost my job. I lost my badge. I lost my old, empty life. But as I walked out of the police station for the last time, I was not sad. I was free. I broke the law, but I had saved a person. And now, my new life was beginning. My life was about finding Rosita, and this time I was not going to arrest her. I was going to join her.